Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the most underrated and overrated brawlers for this month, because of course the meta has changed quite a fair bit, and there will be also a tier list coming out later on in the week, just because the meta has shifted a lot since the last tier list which I did. So before we jump into it, make sure you're using the create code. That'd be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's jump into the most underrated and overrated brawlers. Alright guys, so jumping into the most underrated brawler within this meta right now, for me it has to be Brock. So the main reason why I'm putting Brock as the most underrated brawler is mainly because of his stats during monthly finals. I think across near enough every single region, like whenever Swan brought out Brock onto the draft stage, it did amazing. So it's only really in game modes like Heist, Bounty and Knockout, like you don't really see him in any other game modes. By any means, I'm not saying he's OP, but within his niche, which is pretty nice, right? I like brawlers like this which have their niche in the meta, whereas Brock's niche is those three game modes, the really slow passive maps, which you're going to get a lot of value out of breaking the walls open with. And yeah, that's just where Brock of course thrives, so that's where he's going to be best at. So some stats to bring to actually make this a little bit more relevant. So within monthly finals and EU, you guys probably heard me bring about this stat already, but he had a 100% win rate. He was picked 5 times and won all 5 times, and it's very rare for a brawler to have a complete 100% win rate. And even so, like sometimes it can obviously be dependent on which team plays the brawler, right? Like if a really bad team uses Brock, maybe the win rate is going to be a little bit worse, but I would say it was a mixture, like from some of the worst rated seats in the EU to some of the high. Literally everyone was winning with Brock, specifically on those game modes. So there's a couple of maps in particular that are really strong for him, like out in the open, of course. Being able to break open the wall pretty much straight away is going to be really strong. But another reason why he's just, I think, really slept on within this meta is because of the wall breaks, right? Wall breaks has always been a good mechanic within the game, or like an OP mechanic in the game, but I think more so for right now, I think there's just wall break brawlers are as meta as ever, is what I'm trying to say. Like brawlers like Griff are becoming like top of the meta just because he's got like a gadget that can instantly break open a wall, and there's just a ton of other brawlers really thriving, like Ruffs as well, just because of his wall break aspect. So yeah, that's the main reason why I think Brock is really underrated. Heist as well, he can get so much damage onto the safe so easily. Brock's always been good on like safe zone, for example. Bridge to fire as well has been pretty strong on. And then Bounty, I'm seeing him a lot in shooting style right now. So I think Brock is the most underrated brawler within the game right now. Let's hop into another. Alright guys, so jumping into the next underrated brawler within the meta right now, I think it is Amber. So Amber right now, for some reason, is becoming really strong. So just like brawlers like B, like Amber, even though she hasn't received any kind of buffs for a long while, she's actually becoming a lot more meta. So the main reason being is, for me, is her zoning capabilities. Just being able to play extremely passive with that star power, being able to block off so much of the map with that super, just makes it really easy to play Amber, and she could just be played on a bunch of maps. I think hot zone is the best one for her. You're seeing a lot right now, the current hot zone meta is just a lot of brawlers that have a lot of zoning capabilities, you know, just able to block off a lot of the map, and also the ability to her to break open the grass as well. So she's kind of, obviously she doesn't break open walls, right, but another way to counter a lot of different brawlers is by destroying the grass, and she of course does that. So that's why she's incredibly underrated right now. And of course I think she's actually had one of the highest use rates across literally all regions. I'm seeing loads of people talk about how Amber's being picked way more than usual. I haven't got complete stats on it though, but trust me, Amber's been used way more than before. So a couple of maps right now, just looking at the rotation, just to remind myself. Ring of Fire is definitely a strong map for her. Always been a pretty underrated map for her, but I think right now in her current state is actually one of the strongest picks on this map. Again, she's just pretty much good against everything. Like, of course there are ways to counter Amber, but I just think she's one of those brawlers that you can always kind of like depend on in that meta, but it's never in that map, but it's never really a brawler which you actually see getting banned too much. So again, like another nice niche brawler, just not too strong but definitely underrated. You also have like dual and beetles I've seen a few times. Open zone, I see pretty much all of the time people go Amber. So again, another brawler which you can pretty much just kind of hang around, and if anyone gets into your range on an open zone in particular, the auto aim capabilities are just so overwhelming. It's actually crazy how strong Amber is on open zones. So hopefully, okay, I don't even know what that Surge was trying to do. Trying to think of other maps off the top of my head as well, which can be pretty good on. I just think really any single really defensive map you can get a lot of value out of her with. So Fang is probably going to use this super any second now. Looks like they're going to go down. I might be able to get a goal here. Let's see if I can get the Fang. I think he should be down as well. I'm hoping Rolo might be able to walk that one in. If not, it's not the end of the world. But that is going to be the second most underrated brawler. Let's hop into number 3. Alright guys, jumping into the last underrated brawler within the meta right now. I've gone with a Buzz. So Buzz beforehand, I think probably like 4 months ago or so, I should put as one of the worst brawlers within the game, and I was probably a bit wrong with that one. A lot of times I judge my tier lists of like play rates and whatever else. Sometimes the meta just really doesn't favor a brawler, but I think Buzz right now is really underrated. Whenever I see him played in competitive, it's normally on a heist, but he does have a fantastic win rate, and if a good Buzz can get in a good position against the right matchup, he'll absolutely pop off. And I just love the satisfaction of people chaining his supers, like using his stun one and then using his gadget to just maneuver around a map so easily. I do like Buzz plays, even though I'm not the best Buzz myself. He's actually one of my worst brawlers, funnily enough, just because I haven't really played too much Buzz ever since his release. Like whenever it was released like last year, I never played him competitively, and still in ladder, I just never ever play Buzz. I'm just terrible at hitting the hooks, but trust me, if you're watching players like Bobby or Joker, for example, these guys are absolutely insane on the Buzz. And if you watched the LAN recently in Colombia, you would have seen Bobby absolutely pop off. So the main map is going to be good in his like safe zone. Pit stop he can be pretty decent in. Even hot potato, I've seen him used in gem grab as well to counter brawlers like Rico. He can be absolutely fantastic as a last pick. So that's going to be my last underrated brawler. Let's hop into the most overrated now. Alright guys, so jumping into the most overrated brawler within Brawl Stars right now, I've gone ahead and gone with a Bo. So Bo used to be one of those brawlers that you could always rely on within the meta. As it's kind of developed, as other brawlers have kind of power crept him up, I don't think Bo is a brawler that you can just go every single time now. So, funnily enough, it's actually one of his strongest maps, center stage, by the way. Like, in no way, shape, or form saying that Bo's trash. He's probably somewhere around the middle of the meta, but I'm talking about Power League, right? You guys have probably heard my frustration a lot of times in Power League when people just pick Bo, like, straight away. He's not that type of brawler, specifically in the higher elos, maybe lower in the rankings, like, I don't know, maybe lower than Mythic. Bo's probably really good because people can't really dodge his mines, but just overall, I just think in a 1v1 scenario, his biggest weakness is just brawlers that have really good okay, I don't even know how that he managed to score that. That was just really bad for myself, but brawlers that have really good mobility can just easily hit shots against him and also dodge his shots. You know, brawlers like Max, for example, can easily counter him, so that's why I just don't think Bo is as strong, but he still has his niche, right? So again, not saying he's completely trash. Like, he's really strong in knockout, can be somewhat decent in hot zone because of his mines, and then also good on a map like this because he can play incredibly defensive. Like any map that's really defensive, that's why he's strong on knockout. You get a lot of value out of his mines, a lot of value out of his gadgets. So yeah, this ranking's mainly against my Power League randoms, which even on my mini account, like, I just get so frustrated because I'm like, why do you just go Bo every single time? Like, even on a map you just know that Bo's going to be terrible. Wow, just look at that Rolo gadget right there. That was absolutely insane. I'm going to easily score here, hopefully. Actually, no, we're just going to keep control. But on another note, I was going to put Gus as an overrated brawler, but I actually think, I don't know where to place Gus. I think he's incredibly strong. A lot of people think he's strong, but then again, in 1v1s, he isn't like entirely like overwhelming. But that gadget is so OP from Gus. But that's going to be the most overrated brawler in my opinion. Let's hop into number 2. Alright guys, jumping into another overrated brawler within this meta right now, I've gone for Byron. So Byron is still a brawler I see sometimes in the Power League, whenever I play Power League on my mini account, and I'm really surprised to see him being picked as much as I do see it, because in competitive, he's one of the brawlers which literally isn't used any amount of times. He's only really used in Shooting Star literally because of the map, because basically it's only strong when there's not a chance to for a brawler to be really aggressive and get any value. So that's a map like Shooting Star, because it literally is only good in a straight shooting map because of his projectile speed. So I've mentioned this a few times already, but just in case you're unaware, his projectile speed is faster than quite a few other brawlers. So for example, if you're looking to, if you face off against a B on Shooting Star, then Byron is definitely a good option, which he has his niche there. That's probably his only map where he has any sort of niche. He used to be a brawler they can always rely on, but right now I just think he's completely terrible. So in terms of ladder as well, he actually is a brawler which I think has the worst win rate across all of ladder, which is still pretty insane. Like, normally you don't really want to look at that, but that is definitely what Brawl Stars look at. They look at ladder in general, they look at competitive, look at all the metrics, and Byron just isn't hitting it in terms of any metric. He's a brawler that's really struggling right now. The reload speed nerf definitely did hurt him a lot, and I think he's definitely going to get some sort of buff in next set of balance changes, right? Because he's just completely useless right now, and that's why I would say he's overrated, because I just don't think he's great, and he gets used way too much for how good, well, how weak he actually is. So that's going to be another overrated brawler. Let's hop into the last one. Alright guys, so jumping into the final overrated brawler within the meta right now, I've gone for Anita. So Anita, I would say right now, well, when she first dropped with the balance changes, like, everyone thought that Anita was going to be incredibly OP, and me myself included, I thought Anita was going to be incredibly meta. But as time has gone on, people have learned how to counter her, and it's all about keeping your distance. So I just think mainly the meta just really doesn't suit her. By that I mean is that right now, as I mentioned 100 times, the wall break meta is just hurting so many different brawlers, and Anita is a perfect example for this, because on a really closed map, Anita will actually pop off somewhat, but I think it's very, very rare, specifically in the draft format, where you'll get a scenario where Anita is actually strong, and she's only really strong, I would say right now, the map. I don't even know if it's in the Power League rotation. I don't actually think it is. It's Hot Potato. But I think Pit Stop she actually can be somewhat okay in, but Pit Stop is the main map I see her being used in competitive, and that's the only one I'd recommend her in, just because there's so many different ways to counter Anita right now, and she's definitely just not the brawler that everyone kind of expected her to be. Like, again, she's not completely trashed, right, but for me, it has to be overrated for sure, because randoms still pick her a lot whenever I'm playing on Mythic. I don't really know why, because all you need to pick is like a Griff or a Ruffs, and you're going to counter it a lot. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to do a Power League guide, a challenge guide tomorrow, because I think there's one coming into the game Wednesday. And then also let me know what you want to see in the comment section below. So that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.